Hello everyone, my name is Alok Pandey. I'm a program manager. I am an engineer as well from my academic qualification point of view. I'm a chartered certified project management professional. Today I just wanted to discuss with you guys that what is project management and also how to become successful in project management industry. So obviously people are from different background. You may well be the engineer from the background, and also there are some candidates out there who have done either education related to arts or related to commerce or geography or history or anything like that. But the project management is a concept where if you are into it, if you have learned about it, if you have practiced it, and also you have used it in a practical application, then your previous educations really uh, don't really matter that much, or if I put it that way, that it won't stop you. Like for example, if you are a IT graduate, there is not necessarily a requirement that you can only manage IT projects. You would be very good at it because obviously you have hands-on experience in IT, but if you are enthusiastic enough, if you are keen to learn and develop in something else as well, then you can become successful in other industries as well. For example, you are IT graduate, but you have, let's say, 4 years of experience in project management. Now you want to change your career slightly, you want to move towards the public sector. So in the public sector also, initially it would be challenging, you have to learn, but later on you will be very good at it because that's how it works. The people who are keen to learn, the people who are actively looking for improvement for themselves, they just do. Because once you have stopped learning, believe me, you have stopped progressing. You will be stagnant. You might not realize that because, let's say, you are a project manager somewhere and you feel very happy that, yeah, I'm getting this much salary, everything is settled, I don't need to learn anything more. Even though you know that you are not learning, indirectly you continuously learning from other people, from other projects, from customers, from suppliers. It becomes your second nature, and that's the human nature really. The observation factor you don't realize, but you keep improving, you keep learning, you keep noticing these things, and that somehow adds up in the overall performance. So it is very important. So coming back to the point of the project management, how you become successful in that, the very first thing you can make a note is it's a hard work. Project management is a not very simple thing. Probably same as anything else. Nothing is simple in this world. You have to earn, you have to prove that you can deliver it. And when you get the responsibility from your stakeholders, from your sponsor, from your managers, it's very important that you are fully equipped, because sometimes if you're not fully prepared and you have taken the bite which you can't chew, it's a problem, and then the project will head towards disaster. So that's why it's very important that you understand your scope, you define the scope, and you follow very methodical approach in project management. And I'm considering that you already know everything, all the tools and techniques academically, basically from the training, either from PMI or from APM or any other private trainings you get. I provide a training as well in the project management, so you just apply those tools and techniques, and then you move on. So for any typical project, you have roughly four stages. The first one is concept stage. So in concept stage, basically it's exercise where you liaise with the sponsor, liaise with the stakeholders, and the project sponsor is actually doing all these activities to establish the concept, to present to the to other stakeholders that this project is needed and that's how it will be done. So basically just defining the concept that what will be done. And then the definition phase. So in definition phase, you your project team, you define what is the project all about. um, so once you have defined the project, that and based on this concept which been given from the sponsor or from your manager or your from the customer, you define the project, you define that what is needed, how it will be done. And also in this phase, it's very important that you do contract review. Contract review is in my experience is critical, because only in contract review you will define the actual scope of the project. When I say defining the scope of the project, it's just putting it simply is what is within your scope and what is not. It's important that you need to know that what is included in your deliverables, but at the same time it's highly important to know that what is not included in your project scope. Because if something which is not included in the scope of work, and then later on your stakeholders, your suppliers, or your internal customers or external customers, they start demanding those things, you need to have some documents to prove that this wasn't agreed, this is not defined in the project. Because I have seen so many professionals in project management, they get victim of these scope creep. So in project management, this is called as a scope creep. So basically you didn't realize in the beginning that these things are included or not included, and maybe probably you have a gut feeling that it's not included, and slowly those things in the different stages of the program or projects, they keep just coming in, and you have to deliver them as well without any reward, without any appreciation that it wasn't included in the scope, and still you have to deliver it. So it's very important as a professional that you make sure that the scope is defined and it's well established, documented and agreed and signed by sponsor and the stakeholders, all the key people. So that's the start. And then it comes the implementation phase. So implementation phase is very important, obviously, because doesn't matter how good your concept is, doesn't matter how well you have defined the project, doesn't matter how well you have captured now the scope of the project, that this is in and this is not in the scope. It's all about execution. If you can't execute those plans, if you can't execute those tasks in your project will be unsuccessful. So implementation is where the real project managers step up, because they can take the concept, they take the scope, they have all the documentation like a communication plan, project management plan, project master schedule, all the good stuff you guys already know. Those things are only as good as you can implement it. So it's very important that you make sure that implementation phase is very well looked after, and you have to govern it. And that's the reason in project management the project governance is a module itself. We provide 2 days training on project governance. So in the project governance and project monitoring, it's important that you keep an eye on every single stuff. You need to have different gateways, you need to have different milestones, that once you've reached to the 3 months or 1 month or 1 week, depending on how your the complexity of your project is, you need to assess that how much progress you have made against the time. Because obviously the project management is all about quality, cost and time. So basically you deliver your project on budget. That's key, because you will be given the project budget, whatever, let's say that amount of £100,000, £1 million, depending on, again, it's the scale of the project. Project could be £30,000 project, and the project could be £500 million project. So you will get a budget. So you need to be, as a skilled project management professional, you need to know that how you are spending those different chunks of money, different parts of money to different things, and how well it is utilized. So basically the budget is very very important. So that's called cost. And also um, time. Time is very very important, because if a project has been if a project has been delivered on budget, profit is really good in terms of your calculation, but it hasn't met the deadline, it's all gone wrong in most of the cases. Obviously if the time is flexible, it's fine, but in project management, on time delivery is critical. You cannot insist enough to explain that how critical the time is, how critical the delivery. When you manage oil and gas projects, when I have been primarily most of my career, if the platform is planned to shut down for, let's say, 2 weeks time, and within that 2 weeks window, or maybe 1 week before that window, you have to deliver your stuff as a supplier, your projects needs to be bang on time. Because companies like BP, Shell, or all these big players in the market, they lose millions of pounds every day. So if your project is late one day, probably you are talking about £50 million a day loss. This is big money. And probably this is just my experience, there could be some other ones more than this. Their vessel and everything is booked from like 2 years in advance, and they charge something like, I can't correctly remember, but I guess it was something like 500,000 a day. This much money they charge as a hiring cost. So you can imagine the complexity, the urgency of the project. So you need to be in control. You need to be fully focused on what you are doing. You need to know what you are doing, because that's how you can deliver the results. You can deliver the project on time. So this is um, the practical factor we wanted to discuss. So that's on-time delivery is very critical. Obviously this is just as an overview and as a casual talk, really. It's not a very structured presentation in terms of the project management scope. I have got separate training module for that, and we run sessions, and the clients take benefit of that, and we follow up on that. But this is just an overview, and really just as a casual discussion with you guys, that how you are getting on with it, and what help I can provide, what assistance. I would be more than happy to assist you whatever I know, and if anything I don't know, I will find out for you and let you know. So second thing we discussed about on-time delivery, and then the last one is quality, because you cannot compromise with the quality. There are so many, I mean, in my experience, the quality is paramount thing, because if you delivered everything on budget, that is internally very good, because your project is profitable. You delivered on time, which is fine as well, because now customer is happy that you've delivered on time. But at the same time, it's very important that from the outset of the project, you clearly know, I mentioned the contract review, I mentioned the definition phase. Within that phase only, you define that what the success look like in terms of the quality of the service and product, or any deliverables basically you are delivering to the customer, and that should be agreed. And you need to make sure, as you progress in the different phases of this project life cycle, you need to make sure that you are adhering to that quality standard, and you need to do some random checks, and also make sure that you are fully on top of this. So the quality is very important, because your product, your service needs to be fit for purpose. and not really meet the expectation. To be honest, we should try to exceed the expectation, and that's how you can always make sure that your customer is happy, because a happy customer means more business. And this world is very small nowadays. If you're not meeting the customer's requirement, then obviously you are inviting trouble. Your business will not move that far. So this is important. So quality, cost, and obviously on-time delivery is important. So this is as a whole summary. Once the project has been implemented, it's completed, and it's delivered to the customer, either internal customer or external customers, then the project closeout is also important. Because the closeout is why it's important, because it's opportunity for you to make sure that you have taken the lessons learned, that what went wrong and what went well. If things have gone really good, they need to be documented as well, because once they are documented, you can refer back to the new project, that guys, yeah, this is what we have done, it really worked. So maybe there are some aspects from the previous project which will work again on this one, and at the same time things which didn't go well, and obviously didn't go well, and then what recovery actions you took and what was the result. So that will give you awareness that if something is a risk in your new project, when you move on to the new project, these things could help you as a reference point. So project closure is very important, and also taking the customer's feedback in this closure process. You need to make sure that all your stakeholders are in there, your team members, all your team members are there, and also your customers. Obviously it's very important, because and you take feedback from everyone, and then it gives you a very robust process to manage your projects. And that's how you manage your project. You take a small model of this. So basically concept phase, definition phase, implementation, or you can say execution, and then handover or closeout phase. So this is just a very simple model. Obviously in a more detailed and complex project there are some subdivisions as well, but this is an overall framework of the project. Any project can be managed on this framework. uh, and again, this is just a drop of the ocean. The whole project management is not just defined in these words which we have just discussed. um, this is just a very quick casual overview, that guys, that's how it's kind of managed. But you do need to have a very detailed and thorough study on that, and also you need to learn and implement, because implementation is very good. Some people are very good academically, they have done masters in project management, MSc in project management, but at the same time you need to know that you start implementing them. Because as I said, I have done engineering, I have done MBA, I'm a certified project management professional from APM. um, but I see that I'm continuously learning. It's not like I have done all these and there's no need to learn. So this is my just a personal advice to you guys, that keep keep learning, keep growing, stay hungry for success. This is the key. Stay hungry for the success, and I will speak to you soon. Just drop your comments. Let me know if anything I can assist, and we will catch up again. Thanks very much. Enjoy your day. Thank you.